एक बेहतरीन पारी देखी हमने आज वाइजैक में, जहां पर सिर्फ यही कह सकते हैं यशस्वी भव। जिस तरह से जो है जायसवाल ने आज भारतीय टीम की पारी संभाली है, और उसके अलावा जो विकेट्स इंग्लैंड को मिले अंत में, क्या उससे अब इंग्लैंड सोच सकती है इस टेस्ट मैच में दूसरे दिन कम बैक करे? इस पर हम बात करेंगे। और क्या कुछ की टेकअवेज रहे थे आज के दिन के लिए, इस पर चर्चा करने के लिए मेरे साथ है ESPN क्रिकेट इन्फो के दो दिग्गज नागराज गुलपुड़ी और शशांक किशोर। मैं हूं रोहन देशमुख। और सबसे पहले नागराज, क्या की टेकअवेज रहे?
As you started with Yashasvi Bho, that is what was the congratulatory message. No other than Sachin Tendulkar passed to Jaiswal. What an innings, unbeaten still, 90 overs you have to bat at the age of 22. He's nearing a double century for the second time in his career. He nearly had a century in the first test match in Hyderabad. He's done everything that he thought that he couldn't do in that second innings in Hyderabad, and he's shown what character, patience, concentration, focus, playing in many sessions, all teaches you. He's like he played in the old cricket style, in the sense, like, in a way he did kind of play the modern cricket shots in a way, but more his tempo was more suited to, in a way I felt, to what test cricket normally has been played in the non-Jazball teams. So just loved the way he kind of just understood which bowler to take on, when to take on, in what situation, under pressure, when. So all these put together, Jaiswal's innings clearly one of the biggest takeaways. We'll be talking more about it in depth later. The number two is how India's other batters lost their way. All, at least 4 or 5 of them, are going to be sulking, thinking what could have happened. And I'll just name for a few for now. Starting with, let's say, Gill-Iyer, Akshar Patel, KS Bharat, and even to an extent the other debutant Patidar, but I won't kind of be too harsh on him. It was just like a freakish dismissal. His batting was really good to see. And the third takeaway for me, James Anderson. His 22nd year, he has got a wicket. At 41, he's showing, at least someone like me, that you can have belief. I'm in my 40s, so you can have belief that you can do things, you can be fit, you can aspire to do things. And so, yeah, and that's what it teaches us, all of us, that, I mean, it's the beauty of the sport. Like the way he got Gill, he just kind of has got him for, like, again, we'll talk about it later, he's got him for 5th time or something. It's incredible that what Anderson can do. So it was a very good contest. Yeah, so those are the three takeaways, key takeaways for me.
All right, Nagaraj. If you look at the entire day, how it panned out, you can see the wickets came in each session, but obviously Yashasvi was there. जो है पहले सेशन से अंत तक जो खेलते रहे, 103 रन बने पहले सेशन में, दूसरे सेशन में 122 और तीसरे सेशन में 111। शशांक, कहीं ना कहीं जो 3 विकेट जो आखिरी सेशन में गए हैं, वो कहीं ना कहीं टीम इंडिया को मतलब पिंच करेंगे। फॉर यू इट वाज सिमिलर टेकअवेज in terms of way Yashasvi played and the rest of the Indian batsmen failed to go ahead and make many runs?
Yes, Jaiswal, of course, wonderful knock. I mean, considering the fact that he's just so early in his test career, and to see someone have the kind of temperament and the resilience and resolve that he's shown, it's really wonderful to see. A couple of years ago, there was one image of him doing that Namaste to MS Dhoni that went viral in the IPL. I think that was a little symbolic of the way Yashasvi Jaiswal respects Test cricket and the desire to be a long format batter. It's something that he's spoken about, a couple of times during the Ranji Trophy, how T20 success is just one side of his persona. He wants to be a successful Test batter. It was great to see him respect conditions, respect the opponents, and also ensure that he played his own game without really, being, intimidated by the loss of wickets, or the pressure of having to, stand up and deliver. So that was wonderful to see. So Yashasvi Jaiswal, of course, the number one takeaway. The second one, of course, just so that we don't get repetitive here, I think I'd like to say that I was very impressed with the way Shoaib Bashir bowled on Test debut. It's not easy coming in, and straight away doing something, considering the fact that he's so inexperienced. This is just a seventh first-class game, and for him to come into the Test arena and show that he belongs would have kind of given him a massive boost, especially that wicket of Rohit Sharma very early on in his spell. he held his own. I mean, on surfaces like these, sometimes you can try too much, sometimes you can be under pressure straight away in India. But he came and showed that he has the patience and the ability to wheel away and bowl long spells. So Shoaib Bashir was really good to see. That was the second takeaway. The third one was, I think, a bit of the Indian harakiri that you saw in the final session that you touched upon. I think that will really disappoint them, no doubt, because they were all out to shots, playing shots, unable to keep the cut shot down. Akshar Patel especially, and KS Bharat right towards the end. Patidar was slightly unlucky, but he looked really good. So those 3 wickets could potentially just annoy India that much more, because already you can see the surface looks like a much better wicket than the one we saw in Hyderabad. So batting big in the first innings is imperative. 330 for 6. India would ideally have liked 550 on the board, just so that they give them that extra cushion. But that's going to be a very Herculean task here on. In the post-match chat, we heard Jazball talk about his desire to bat long, recover, come back and try and double up. Well, it's all on him, but he'll also need a lot of support from Ashwin, especially if India had to go anywhere beyond 450. So, the meltdown in the final session is another bit of a takeaway that'll really disappoint them.
Absolutely. We just talk more about how the Indian batting collapse, you can't call it a collapse, but how everyone sort of got in, और उसके बाद जो है उनके विकेट के उसके बारे में आगे बात करेंगे. एक बार यशस्वी ने जिस तरह से तीनों सेशन में रन किए, वो एक काइंड ऑफ रिफ्लेक्शन है जैसे भारतीय टीम का एक सेशन ग्राफिक रहा है. 92, 93 एंड 72 ऑब्वियसली स्टेडी पेस पे यशस्वी खेलते हैं. और यशस्वी से हमने साउथ अफ्रीका दौरे के वक्त भी हमने बातचीत की थी उसके बाद, और उन्होंने कहा था कि किस तरह से जो है ना अपनी इनिंग्स को बिल्ड करना चाहते हैं, और ख़ास करके आसपास उनके ड्रेसिंग रूम में जो दिग्गज है उनसे किस तरह की बातचीत होती है और कैसे सीखते हैं उनसे, उस पर थोड़ी बातचीत हुई थी.
मैं हमेशा जब खेलता हूँ और यही सोचता हूँ कि टीम के लिए अच्छा करूँ और मैच जिताऊँ. यही मेरी कोशिश रहती है कि मैं मैच जिताऊँ और ऐसा इनिंग खेलूँ कि जिससे मेरी टीम जीते. What shots I can play and how I can build my innings. With that, I need to make sure that the tempo is high and I'm playing all the shots. जो मेरा काम है मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि मैं अपना 100% दूँ. बाकी सर हैं, सिलेक्टर हैं, बाकी बट मतलब सभी सीनियर प्लेयर हैं. then I'm really glad to play under these legends.
नागराज, जो यशस्वी कर पाए वो चीज़ें क्यों शुभमन गिल, श्रेयस अय्यर रेप्लिकेट नहीं कर पाए? क्या वजह हो सकती है?
मैं तो बैटिंग कोच नहीं हूँ, तो मैं तो पता नहीं, टेक्निकल तो मैं बता नहीं सकता कि क्या वजह हो सकती है. लेकिन क्लियरली टेम्परामेंट, हमने बात की थी हैदराबाद के बाद भी कि इट्स इन द टेम्परामेंट दैट्स वेयर इंडियन बैटर्स फेल्ड इन दैट फर्स्ट टेस्ट. द कोच both Dravid and Rathore said the same things in their press conferences. Today, the same repeat happened. It's clearly the pressure. You can see that now both these batters, especially Gill and Iyer, are facing the pressure. Especially Iyer, this was like he really would think that this was a wasted opportunity. This could have been an innings where he could have easily scored a century, because the wicket today was, keep in mind that this wicket will deteriorate quickly from at some point from the second half tomorrow, is at least what the likelihood seems to be. The wicket today was very slow. It was batter friendly. You have to pick those moments, and Iyer was showing signs that he could, but you never felt like, including like if you compare him to someone like Patidar had showed really like the shots, the way he handled patiently and calmly played it late. You felt that Patidar just despite being a debutant, settled so easily from ball one. It was so nice to watch him at those strokes, the inside out drives that he played, the late cuts that he played, even the flicks. I mean, like he didn't even like that. I think there was only one reverse played at least till T or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I missed a bit of the match, but I think maybe there was one reverse played and he played that and he picked that length, and more importantly the line it was outside off, and he felt it was safe, and so he could play that, and he was in no rush. Whereas with Iyer, you felt that there was something, he was itching to do something always. He is a restless by nature. The little I know of Shreyas, he's slightly restless, but at the same time you can see him in command when he starts playing his strokes fluently. Today he was still struggling, and that stroke he got out to, Like he would have played that any other time, but hard hands.
लेकिन बॉल
and
लेकिन
more
बॉल
importantly,
लो रह गया ना नागराज, बॉल लो रह
वो
गया,
तो एक
उसका
हो
एक थोड़ा
सकता है,
बेनिफिट
लेकिन
हो.
हाँ, लेकिन थोड़ा बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट तो मिलेगा, लेकिन जिस हिसाब से टॉक अबाउट द सेम बॉल, सेम हाइट, and how Yashasvi played on the other side. And one of the best shots I liked in the day today, there were two shots I liked. One was Yashasvi's cut, that late cut, went very close to the body, very from behind at the last minute. And the field that Ben Stokes had set for that exact stroke, he could bisect, which is he had a point and he had a backward point very close, like a cat. That cut sneaked through that narrowest of alleys, and it was so wonderful to see that. And he did that, he repeated that more than once. Sometimes it didn't get through, but at least on 3 to 4 occasions he got past at least 2 boundaries, he got through. And the other stroke, of course, is that 6 that he hit like over the covers, and that comes not just because he's aggressive or something as a batter, but also shows that the confidence and more importantly the technique he used, go under the ball, step out, and then just kind of loft over this, and with that follow through, with that bat swing and etc. and everything that the commentators were talking about, it was really nice. And then people will remember this innings for another reason. We keep talking about Sehwag bringing up centuries with 6. Yashasvi Jaiswal has brought up today his second century with a 6. I mean, he didn't kind of he realized that he didn't want to spend too much time at the non-strikers end. He was like all the time wanting to take strike, and when he got it, he thought that okay, I want to just finish it. I want to just hit it over the top, but in a very smart fashion.
शशांक, आखिरी में जो विकेट गए, केएस भारत का विकेट गया, अक्षर पटेल का विकेट गया, सॉर्ट ऑफ कमेंटेटर्स कह रहे थे इट वाज अ सॉफ्ट डिसमिसल, लेकिन उसके पहले हमने और एक ऐसा डिसमिसल देखा था, वो रजत पाटीदार का देखा था. रजत पाटीदार, जैसे नागराज ने कहा कि काफ़ी एक स्टेडी लग रहे थे. इट डिडंट लुक लाइक, ऑनेस्टली जब मैं देख रहा था मुझे नहीं लग रहा था कि ये बंदा जो है अपना डेब्यू कर रहा है, इतना सेटल लग रहा था. आपने उसके बारे में जो है काफ़ी कुछ रिसर्च भी किया. मैंने आपका ही आर्टिकल पढ़ा था कि किस तरह से रजत ने जो है अपने पैर जमाए डोमेस्टिक क्रिकेट में, और फिर उनको ये बुलावा आया टेस्ट क्रिकेट के लिए. किस तरह से रजत जो है इस इनिंग्स को देखेंगे, और क्या कुछ पीछे गया है रजत पाटीदार को बनाने के लिए?
The one thing that strikes out immediately about Rajat Patidar is his confidence. I mean, you saw that in abundance today. Just the confidence to play a reverse sweep very early on in his innings. You know, the way he executed the stroke against the turn, rolled his wrist to keep the ball down, was amazing to see. That's the kind of batter he is. He plays his sweeps, and it's not just the sweeps. He's got the entire range of shots, and we've seen that in the IPL. He's been a terrific contributor for Madhya Pradesh over the last 2 years. His first 4 years were slightly inconsistent. He averaged about 37 in first class cricket from 2015 to 2019. Then that COVID break came in, and then it probably gave him a little bit of time to sort himself out. So he worked extensively with former India batter Amay Khurasia, who's also been a selector in the past. So he worked extensively with him. Came back post-COVID, and he's made waves. He's averaged about 65 since then. And he's come in, won Madhya Pradesh a Ranji Trophy in 2022. He's been a part of the India A series. In his debut series with India A, he struck 200s against New Zealand A, a competent New Zealand attack in India. And then he's been a regular part of the India A setup. Of course, he missed a lot of cricket last year because of a heel injury for which he required surgery. But the promise that he showed before that kind of got the selectors to give him a push once he was fully fit. And we've seen what he can do. India A, 2 knocks, 200s, comes into the test match, shows a lot of confidence and maturity. No surprise that at 30, I mean, he may have been a late starter, but he's shown a lot of promise, and should further opportunities come up, you can expect something big from him. So he's had a good journey, good initiation into first class cricket. He's really cashing in now.
एब्सोल्युटली. और उन्होंने जो है अपने इंजरी के बारे में बात भी की थी अभी रिसेंटली. उन्होंने जो BCCI.TV को एक इंटरव्यू दिया था उसमें, और कहा था कि किस तरह से जो है रिकवरी टाइम से बाहर आ रहे थे, और किस तरह से बाहर आए. और उन्होंने ये भी कहा कि कैसे वो विराट कोहली को नेट्स के पीछे से देख रहे थे, और रेडी देख रहे थे कि किस तरह के शॉट सिलेक्शन जो है विराट कोहली करते हैं नेट्स में, और उनसे सीखने की कोशिश कर रहे थे. ऑब्वियसली नागराज एंड शशांक, केविन पीटरसन ने जो है आज कहा था कि ये विकेट जो है आज की एक रोड की तरह है, आई मीन इट इज़ लाइक अ रोड, और इस तरह का विकेट जो है हमें अक्सर इंडिया में देखने को नहीं मिलता. ऑब्वियसली अपार्ट फ्रॉम यशस्वी जायसवाल, बाकी के बल्लेबाज जो है, जैसे नागराज आपने कहा कि दे विल बी सल्किंग, ऑब्वियसली ड्रेसिंग रूम में जाके कहते थे कि यार यहाँ पे तो रन बनने थे और नहीं बने. अब कल के दिन आपको क्या लगता है किस तरह से जो है आगे भारतीय टीम जो है इसको देखेगी, कितना बड़ा स्कोर चाहिए, क्योंकि ये विकेट जैसे केविन पीटरसन कह रहे थे एक रोड की तरह, विच मीन्स इट्स अ गुड बैटिंग विकेट. हाउ मेनी रन्स विल बी इनफ फॉर इंडिया?
As many as they can make. 336 for 6 is what they ended up with. They should have been, they would have thought that around 350 for about 4 they would have taken, and that would have been India's day. At 6 they are now, they have to again restart and ensure that Jazball is around so that they can inch towards the 500 mark, because while the pitch today was again slow and yes flatter, it did take the low bounce and the little turn that it has started taking is going to make batting more and more challenging. So regardless of England's methods, that will weigh on England. The moment you move towards 500 or close to 500, that's when India will think that okay fine, we at least have something kind of to play with. So anything less than 500, India would be disappointed is what I think.
शशांक 500 तक पहुंच पाएगी इंडियन टीम, आपको लगता है?
I mean, it'll all depend on the partnership between Jaiswal and Ashwin. Ashwin has obviously shown a lot of ability, and we've seen him do it repeatedly in Test cricket. But again, it depends on how they start tomorrow. You bat out the first 30 overs, 30 minutes, and then look to press forward and get closer to 400, 450 to begin with. I think the one thing that India will need to do tomorrow is, irrespective of whether they lose a wicket or they don't, they have to approach it better. They have to look to score quickly and take the game forward to get to that 500 run mark, rather than look to survive initially. Yes, you can take your time early on with which you think Jaiswal will, but once he gets his eye in, he's shown the ability to hit big runs and big sixes, and with the tail, with the lower order, you can't call them tail anymore. I think with the lower order, with Ashwin there, he'll have a little more confidence. But if they lose Ashwin early, then probably he'll have to take the mantle upon himself to press India forward, because the batting isn't really deep beyond. I mean, you've got what Mukesh Kumar, who's really not that accomplished as a batter. Kuldeep can hang around a fair bit, but he hasn't got the kind of runs that you'd expect of him. So it's all on Yashasvi Jaiswal and Ashwin. The partnership will dictate how much India get.
And also the new ball, remember that. That's another factor. So it's not, we can say that India will be wanting, it's a highly ambitious kind of a figure. So it's not that easy. There are various other factors. Yes. So that's why what happened late today, you would think that all these batters would be really, really hurting, because this could be like if India finish under like 400, which means they're going to once again, they don't want to look back and say that if they're going to lose this match, this would be the reason they would have lost the match, because they didn't have the first innings target on such pitches. You really need big first innings total to put the opposition under pressure.
Exactly, and we don't want Rahul Dravid to come back and say कि फर्स्ट इनिंग्स में कुछ रन्स जो है कम पड़े थे. We don't want to repeat of that. Thank you very much Nagraj, thank you very much Shashank for talking to us. लेकिन जाते जाते आपको बता दें कि अंडर 19 का जो मैच चल रहा है वर्ल्ड कप का, उसमें इंडिया ने 297 for 5 स्कोर कर चुके हैं. वहाँ पर उदय सहारन कैप्टन हैज स्कोर्ड 100 of 107 balls, और सचिन दास ने 116 किए हैं. टारगेट फॉर नेपाल इज 298. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Keep on watching Follow the Blues. Thank you very much for joining.